Oftentimes in pastry school, we had to do foundational recipes by hand with no mixer. So the other day I was making blondies and I decided to do it in the bowl. And I think this is a great tutorial on how a modified muffin slash creaming method works. And you can see how all of the ingredients play off of one another. So there's value in seeing this done slowly. So the first step is combining the fats and the sugar. And in this case, I'm using butter as the fat and brown sugar as the sweetener. The butter gives us a nice Maillard browning reaction and flavor and caramelization in the presence of the sugars. It's got some natural emulsifiers, and it's really the gold standard. The brown sugar is our sugar, and its main job is to be a sweetener. It also has molasses in it, which is an invert sugar, which softens, and it's hygroscopic, so it attracts and bonds with water, which keeps things moist in your finished product. It adds color and flavor, and the molasses actually has acid in it, which helps react with the baking powder. And in goes the bowl, some vanilla bean paste, which I love, and some fleur de sel, which is sea salt. So it can dissolve nicely. So the second step is to add our flour. In this case, I use pastry flour, which has a protein content of anywhere from 8 to 10%, which all-purpose flour is somewhere around 12. King Arthur might be 11.7%, but it's higher. The rule of thirds means that you add a third of the flour to start, and when you fold it in properly, you don't mix it all in. You leave it like that, and then you add half the eggs, and you fold it in. And again, you don't want to overmix it, so you stop even before there are just streaks. It can be loose. Then you add the next addition of flour, and maybe you get to just a few streaks that are left behind. And then you add the last of the egg, and then you get that to where there's just light streaks. And then your final addition of the flour, you're going to gently add all of the flour in. So there are no streaks, no lumps, anything less than full cohesion is not what you're looking for. But you don't want to overwork your gluten, which is really easier to do when you're using pastry flour. It's kind of like an insurance policy. Now, it goes without saying, I sifted all the dry ingredients. That's the beginning of leavening. My baking powder is the next leavening, which is going to be affected by moisture and heat. So once I start adding the flour, it's go time. I can't leave this in the bowl all day, or the baking powder is going to release all its CO2, and then that's not going to happen in the oven, and I'm going to lose volume. So there's the third addition of the flour, and if you watch, you'll see that I get it all in, and I make sure that there's nothing left on the bowl. Once the batter is cohesive, I can add the add-ins, which are pecans that I chopped into relatively large pieces so you can actually taste them when they're in the finished product. And I toasted them at 350 for more than 5 minutes. I like the pecans to get a really nice flavor. I don't want them to be plain when they're inside, and because they're really not going to continue to brown when they're inside of the batter in the oven. The other thing that's nice about this recipe are the white chocolate chips. And a lot of people don't like white chocolate. This happens to be real white chocolate chips, which have cocoa butter in them. They're very mild flavor, but they caramelize quite a bit when they get baked. And I like to bake everything dark, so this blondie will get baked very dark to the point where there is a lot of caramelization, there is a lot of flavor, and getting a little burst every now and then of this smooth, creamy sweetness of the white chocolate really offsets the blondie nicely. So as you can see, I'm just going to stop clear of when these are mixed in and make sure that you work clean. It's so important. I'm going to get the batter down toward the end and get it in. And I don't want to overwork it. So I have an offset spatula, my favorite thing, a 4-inch offset spatula. And I have a cake frame. The cake frame has been greased with a combination of butter and flour, not just butter and not sprayed. But I don't push it up along the side of the frame and then pull it back, because then it's going to stick and then sag, and it's going to end up cooking faster than the rest. I want it to be even. So I just push it toward the edges and then just let it settle. Get it as smooth as you can, pop it in the oven, and know that you are in control of the entire process. And know that when you understand what your ingredients are doing, you will know how to treat them and what went right and what went wrong. Good luck.